Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is proof Kawhi Leonard will not be coming back. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you go ahead and check out Dreamerspro Max, an online sports community, a place where you can go and start basketball discussions and chat live during games. We have that linked in the description below. And also make sure you go ahead and click the join button to join the channel to receive loyalty badges from our channel. So anyway, let me get into this topic here. So I know many of us have speculated on whether or not Kawhi Leonard will return ever since he had his injury in Game 4 in the second round in the Western Conference semifinals against the Utah Jazz. You guys know that series they were down 0-2, and then they were making a comeback, and it was late in Game 4. I think in that fourth quarter, I think with about 5 or 6 minutes to go, he was coming down the court in transition, and I think he stepped awkwardly, and he then injured himself, and he just like kind of ran off the court, like it was just like in one motion, so to speak, and then he just took himself out of the game. And then at the end of that game, he came out and they interviewed him, like, and they asked him, say, hey, Kawhi, is everything going to be all right? He said, yeah, everything will be fine. Let's move on to the next thing. And we thought that, everything would be okay and he'll be ready for the next game. Then it turned out that injury that he sustained in the court was going to hold him out indefinitely. And since that game, we haven't seen Kawhi Leonard. Now, the Clippers recently made history as an organization. They were able to make their first conference finals appearance, something that they had never been able to do. And they became the only team in NBA history to come back in 2 consecutive series back to back, being down 0-2 in the same playoff campaign, right? Something that no other team has been able to do. And Kawhi Leonard, before he went out, I think he was having one of his best years in the playoffs ever in his entire career. If we go and look at his numbers during these playoffs, he was playing about 39 minutes a game, which is virtually the same amount of minutes he was playing last year. But this year he was scoring 30.4 points per game. He was shooting 57% from the field, which is a career high field goal percentage from the field in the playoffs. He had never shot that well from the field ever. He was shooting 39% from the 3-point line, which is better than he did in the last 2 years in the playoffs. He was shooting 88% from the free throw line, getting you about 7.7 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and 2.1 steals. So Kawhi Leonard was having a stellar year these playoffs, and he looked like he was primed to make a run with this team all the way to the championship round and possibly ultimately, winning it all, right? But, since he had that injury, Kawhi Leonard has been out for about 2 weeks. The guy hasn't played basketball for about 2 weeks. Now, as I said in the beginning of this episode, I said a lot of us kind of speculated on when he would return. I always felt like he would return in Game 4, which just passed this over the weekend, which was on Saturday. I thought that he would return in Game 4. I thought that the Clippers would have possibly evened up the series. I thought the Clippers would have gotten Game 3, which they ended up getting, and I said, okay, maybe he would come for Game 4 to help them kind of even up the series. But then going into Game 4, we saw that he wasn't going to play, and I said, well, if he's not going to play, then, I'm not really sure. And then, he ended up not playing, and the Clippers ended up going down 3-1. Then I also heard news that the team announced that he wouldn't be available for Game 5. And I'm like, okay, Game 5 is tonight, and that's an elimination game. So what is going on here? Now, the Clippers as a team, they said that Ty Lue and these guys said that they feel confident that they can go into Phoenix and get a win. Right. But it was something that I heard just yesterday before I went to bed, a soundbite that I heard yesterday that convinced me now that Kawhi Leonard will not be returning for the rest of these playoffs. So before I go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to this soundbite of Paul George talking about Kawhi Leonard and whether or not he'll return when he was questioned about it. So before I go too far, take a listen to that.
How much is Kawhi giving you guys right now? And is there any chance like you could try to get out there again or this elimination game? And what can he give you right now?
I'm not sure. I can't speak on the health of Kawhi. If he's not 100, we don't want him out there. That's just as a brother, as a teammate. His health long term is more important than what's going on now. So I can't speak on the extent of his injury or what he can and cannot give us. Like I've been saying, his health is just more important than anything else.
Now, in that soundbite, Paul George said a few things. He said, number one, I can't really speak for Kawhi Leonard because he's the one that, that is dealing with the injury. That's number one. Number two, he said something very important. He said, the most important thing to us right now is his health. That's the number one thing that's important to us right now, is him getting healthy. And he said that they don't want to take any unnecessary risks and have him come back too soon and then have him re-aggravate the injury, which will cause him to miss time in the future. Right? Those were his basic words that he said. And I think basically from what I was able to glean from that statement, I think Paul George is just basically saying, listen, we've come to terms with the fact that Kawhi Leonard is not coming back. We're hopeful, but we don't think he's coming back. And I think that the team, the organization, the players, and all of these guys have come to the conclusion that, listen, Kawhi, the number one thing that's important here is your health. Right, we're going to do the best that we can this year, but it's not worth you coming back and re-injuring yourself just so we can win a title. This year we know that we know that we're a good team, and we know that we have what it takes to get back to the Western Conference Finals and ultimately the finals. Right, so I think that the team has already come to terms with the fact that Kawhi Leonard is not coming back, and I think with them kind of holding out on whether or not they want to put out a definitive statement on whether or not he will be returning or not. I think it's just at this point, I think it's just for strategy. I think they always want to keep the Phoenix Suns on their toes to always kind of game plan for him with the possibility that he may come back, but I don't think he's going to come back. And I totally agree with that. We did a video yesterday and I said, listen, no one has the right to tell Kawhi Leonard what he should do with his body. I felt that it would be stupid if he did come back. We've seen two cases in which an athlete comes back unnecessarily to virtue signal to show, I want to help my team and I want to prove I want to do the right thing. And I just said at the end, it was just stupid, right? Think of the situation with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was clearly injured in the playoffs. I think it was 2018, whatever it was. And then he came back in the finals, which he had no business coming back. He comes out and in the game he comes back in the first quarter, he ruptures his Achilles tendon and it causes him to miss an additional year of basketball, and ultimately he didn't even end up re-signing with the Golden State Warriors. So that was not worth it. It just wasn't worth it in the short term, and it definitely wasn't worth it in the long term. And the Clippers are in a similar situation where this is a contract year for Kawhi. He can decide to leave. So I think the stupid thing the team could do is try to put any type of pressure on him to make him come back, and he re-injures himself and then he ends up missing time. I just don't think that's a smart thing to do. We look at another player who totally messed himself up. Look at Isaiah Thomas, the former Boston Celtic. He was injured. He wanted to come back and do the right thing and show the team and show Boston and show the fans that, yes, I'm here for you and this and this and this and this. And guess what? He injured himself. He never got that big contract. And then it's something he regrets now for the rest of it. He's going to regret for the rest of his life. Was that necessary? No, it's not necessary. In this particular situation, Kawhi Leonard needs to put himself first, because if he puts his health first, is actually putting the team first, because the team benefits if he is healthy. And I think there's no circumstance that he should come back under if he is not 100% healthy and then risk re-injuring himself. It just is not smart. And remember, Kawhi Leonard was in a similar situation like this a number of years ago in San Antonio. He already did the stupid thing once. Remember in that game when they were playing against the Golden State Warriors, he injured himself in the first half. I think he on his ankle or something like that. Instead of him just kind of taking it easy and taking the rest of the game off, they were already on the road. They didn't need to get game one, but he came out there trying to prove, I'm going to show my teammates and trying to make it work. Came out and in the second half, Zaza Pachulia injured him. He would, not only did he miss the rest of those playoffs, he ended up coming back the following season. They misdiagnosed him. I think he played 6 or 7 games, and he missed an additional year. And then ultimately he ended up with the San Antonio Spurs, and you have people asking him whether or not he quit and being a diva. Kawhi Leonard needs to spend no time listening to these people. It's your health, it's your body, and you don't need to waste any time trying to prove anything to anybody. Pure stupidity. I think it would be stupid if he came back and he's not healthy. So given the statements that Paul George made, I don't think he's coming back. And listen, there have been some positives with him not playing. For example, younger players have been able to get some valuable minutes in the playoffs and really flourish. Think of Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann doesn't get these, Terrence Mann doesn't get these opportunities if Kawhi Leonard's playing. He just doesn't. It doesn't happen. So Terrence Mann has gotten better through, through playing adversity. Paul George has gotten better through this adversity because now he was put in a situation as the number one option where he was forced to lead, and sometimes he came through and other times he didn't, right? But ultimately, I think he'll be better off for it. Think of Ivica Zubac. Ivica Zubac was able to get some valuable minutes these playoffs. So ultimately, listen, I think he doesn't come back, and I think he should be under no pressure to come back just to prove something to somebody or to some fans. I think that would be stupid. So in my opinion, on to the next one. It's unfortunate. He's my favorite player. I wish he does come back. But I hope he does the best thing for his health, which will ultimately benefit the team in the long run. So those are my thoughts. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think he comes back? What do you think of some of the things that I said? What do you think about, what are your thoughts on what Paul George said? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.